Good evening, guys. So I hope I'm audible. Good evening, guys. Hope I'm audible. So let me wait for a couple of minutes and then I'll begin today's session. And before that, in last class, I have said you people to go through the binary representation of numbers, means how to convert a decimal to its binary format and binary to its decimal format. And also, if you guys have any doubts regarding the previous sessions, or you can let me know in the comment section. Guys, I couldn't see any message. I mean, like any comments until now. So, do you people have joined? So, until now, let me give you a small summarization of what we have seen until now. So, just we have, seen what is Java and its, I mean, the basic features which we do have in Java. And last class, I have given you some information about what is a class and object, and why, Java follows OOPS concept, and why it is called as object programming language and all. And we have discussed the very basic thing of how to write a hello world program, and the various engines that is behind the scenes, like which will help you in providing the output of the code which you're writing, which is nothing but like JVM, JRE, and JDK we have seen. And I hope you people have installed the Eclipse and the IntelliJ IDE. So is there any network glitch from my side? uh, Guys, am I audible, or you people couldn't hear me well? Okay. So, yep. I'll start with the thing which we have seen on the very first day. So we just saw about the very basic introduction about what is Java, and we have also seen about how to run a simple program and all. Now to continue those things, today we'll discuss about what is a data type and what is a variable and all those things. And we'll be seeing the different operators which is available in Java. And also next we'll see about like the condition statements if time permits. Okay. Just give me a minute. I'll share the screen. Okay. Um, so next thing is it is nothing but the data types and variables. Okay. So data type is nothing but the type on which you're going to store, which means if you're going to store an integer value, means a number value, the data type will be different. Or if you're going to store some characters, or which is enclosed in a string, when we enclosed in a double quotes or a single quotes, it changes accordingly. Okay, so if you want to change, you know like one data type to another data type is also possible. Data type is nothing but the type of the data which the variable is going to hold. Okay, so that is data types. We have many number of data types in Java. Okay, data types means if you're storing a decimal value, then it is called as float. So if you're going to store an integer value, it is known as int. Okay, and in int also we'll be having various memory sizes. So if you're going to store a normal, a small number, you can go with something called as byte. I mean, higher than that you can go with short, and higher than that you can go with int, and higher than that you can go with long. Okay, so the variation in these different kinds of integer is only to reduce the memory space which you're going to use it for the computation things. And when it comes to a variable is nothing but it acts as a placeholder where you're going to store some value. Okay, so yes, so okay. So in data types, we have two different kinds of data types. One is primitive and another one is non-primitive. Okay. So primitive means it is nothing but it is, it is already provided by Java, and it is something kind of the basic or the default data types. Okay. So here we have non-numeric and numeric. So if you're going to, as the name suggests, if you're going to store if you're going to store a number format value, then you'll be using these kinds of data types. Or if you're going to store a non-numeric data type where it can be a composition of a sequence of characters, or it can be a boolean value. Boolean value is nothing but it is true or false. Like if you people already know any programming languages, boolean is nothing but it is true or false. Okay, so yes, so if you're going to store, let me deal with the numeric type data types now. Okay, so if it is an integer, integer means normal numbers, which includes the positive numbers, negative numbers, along with zeros, right? So without any decimal format, if you're going to store a particular value, you'll be going with integer. Okay, and in this integer itself, we'll be having four different variations. This variation is considered only for they differ in size of memory which is allocated to store a particular value. Okay, so we'll also be seeing the different numbers range. If your number lies in this range to that range, how many, which data type you can go with. For the same integer type a storing of numbers, you can either use these four according to the value which you're going to store. It actually helps you to reduce your memory optimizations. Okay, and when it comes to floating point, floating point is nothing but it is decimal values. So in floating point we'll be having two different variations. So if it is a float, means after the decimal, like the dot, you can store the digits up to 7 precision. Okay, and if it's a double, you can store up to 15 digits after the decimal point. Okay, only this is the difference. Means in if you're using float, and if you're giving some 10 digits after the decimal point, means after 7 digits it will be it will be like storing, but that the remaining 3 digits will be rounded off and it will be stored in 7 digit. Okay, for example, if you're giving something like which is exceeding 7. Okay, so let's say 70, I mean 7 4 is there, and after that eighth digit is going to be somewhere 6. So it's greater than 5, right? So last it will be stored as point 4. I mean, I'll be showing. So if you're going to store something like 8.4444448. So we're going to like store something like this. This is 8 digits, right? So this 4, I mean, we have to store only 7 digits if we are giving us float. So what happens, this 8, like it is greater than 5, right? So here this 4 will be converted to 5, be rounded off, and it will be stored as 8.444 6 fours and 1 5 after 8. So something like this. So if you're going to store a like if you're going to give double to a particular variable, then after 15 digits it will be rounded off and it will be getting stored. Okay, and yes, what happens if it's a boolean? This is all about the numbers if you want to store. Okay, so next thing is boolean. Boolean means it is nothing but it is true or false. Okay, so if you want to store the true or false values, you can give boolean a is equal to true or boolean b is equal to false. Okay, and character, like in the previous class itself, we have discussed about what is a character. Character is nothing but it has the capacity to hold one only a single digit, and it can be either sorry, it can be either a digit or like a alphabet or any special characters, anything. And the main thing over here is it is enclosed in single quotes. Okay, so this is all about the primitive data types. When you come to see the non-primitive data types, it is like string and array. So if it's a string, we have seen a sequence of characters that is enclosed in double quotes. And if it's an array, array means it's nothing but array is a collection of elements which belongs to a same data type. Okay, so that is actually arrays. If you're going to store, if you're going to maintain, or if you're going to store a set of elements which belongs to the same data type, you'll be using an array. And you'll also be you'll also be telling the system of the data type of the elements which you're going to store in the array. If you're going to store integer elements, you'll be giving int arr, and you will be giving the set of elements. We'll be seeing more on the we'll be seeing more about array in our further sessions. Yes, so this is actually the various data types and its size in bytes, and the range of numbers until which you can be storing. So I said you right, like these two, it corresponds to integer. It corresponds to integer. Okay, so if you're going to store an integer value, and if that integer value lies between the range, 1 second. Yes. So I mean, if you're going to store an integer value, and if its range lies somewhere like in between minus 128 to 127, then instead of giving int a is equal to 126, you can give byte a is equal to 126. It actually stores your like save your memory, because here for like int you are like the if you're giving int a is equal to 126 or byte a is equal to 126, the allocation will be the same. Like for the value, the variable a, 126 will be stored, but here if you're using byte, only 8 bits will be allocated for your variable a. Okay, and if you're going with integer, 32 bits is allocated for your variable a, which actually saves your memory, right? So, and I hope you people know 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. This byte does not corresponds to the like a data type. This byte is corresponds to the memory. Okay, this byte is not equal to this byte. This is a data type. But here, if 8 bits are there together, like 8 bits is represented as 1 byte. So instead of telling size of data types in bits, you can also tell it in bytes. 1 byte. This is 8 bits is 1 byte. Then short, it's 2 bytes. Then 32, it's 4 bytes. 64, it is 8 bytes. Sorry, it's not. It's 8 bytes. Okay, so something like this. And if you want to store a value in this range, you can go with short. And if you want to store values in this range, you can go with int as well. And higher than this, if you want to store, you can go with long. Okay, like whenever you're solving a lead code problems and all, sometimes like whenever you are going to compute in a high numbers, that time if you're giving int, then the numbers will be shrinked and then it will be like stored. But when you're giving long, the computations will be done in a much more efficient way. So there are some problems where like if instead of using long, if you're using int, then like all test cases will not be passed. So if you're giving long instead of int, then every I mean like many test cases, all the test cases will be getting passed. The main reason for this is, for a particular problem, it is not something like it must have only one test case, right? So if you're giving some 50 test cases, there are certain test cases which will deal with large numbers. To cover those test cases also, we need to write like a generalized algorithm where our algorithm must works even for longer numbers. So for going with those kind of things, you can better, I think it's better to go with long. Okay, because we don't know, we know the constraints will be given in a prior way of the range. So by seeing the range of the inputs which the user will be giving, we can either go with int or long data type. Okay, and yes, so when it comes to float and double, as I've already said, 4 bytes of data is allocated for storing a float variable, and 8 bytes of data is allocated for double. Okay, so next is char. Char means we have already said, right? So it is going to represent a single character or a single digit, mean a single entity, like which can be of anything. Like it can be a number, an alphabet, or a special character, anything which is enclosed in a single code. Okay, and yes, so the memory space which is allocated for character is 16 bits, which is 2 bytes. And for boolean, it's true or false, so only one bit is allocated. Okay, and next thing here is this is all about data types, and next thing is the variables. So there are three different types of variables in Java, which is nothing but local, instance, and class. Okay, so yesterday I have already said you about writing, like when we wrote a method, like I have discussed about local variables, right? So we saw an example where we have wrote, we have declared C in a method and we try to access it over in that method, and it was possible. But the method which I mean the variable which we have declared and used in a particular method cannot be accessible in another methods and all. For example, if I'm writing a method A and I'm declaring int C is equal to some number, and if I'm trying to print C means it will work. Okay, A is the method over here. Okay, and if I'm trying to access this C in another method, it's not possible. If I'm giving a system dot out dot println C, it is not possible because for explaining the variable scope I have said you yesterday, the lifetime of a variable. See, this is a local variable which I have declared in my method A, right? So this is going to be my local variable which I have declared under method A, and when I try to access it within the method A, it works. But here, when I try to access the same variable in method B, it is not accessible because once the control comes out of my method A, the lifetime of that variable is over. Okay. So if you want to use any variables over here, it has to be declared. Either it has to be declared inside this you know method. So that is called as local variable. Instance variable is we have discussed yesterday itself. So whenever you are writing the class, for example, let me show you. Yes, so let us take college as a class, and here we have NARF ranking and name as the variables, right? So the variables which is present inside the class, but outside the methods, it is known as instance variables. Or okay, so this here NARF ranking and name, they are called as instance variables. Okay. Next thing is class variables. We have said yesterday that we can go with the static keyword for variables as well as for methods, right? If you are giving static k is equal to 5, then the allocation of value 5 for the variable happens only during the execution of the program, only once, and its value can never be changed. Okay, so those variables are actually called as class variables. So variables are declared as static. It cannot be a local variable because it acts as a global constant. Okay, so this is the correct way to declare a variable. So if you want to declare a variable, you have to give its data type, what type of data this variable is going to store. Okay, you have to tell about that. And here is the variable name. Here age is the variable name and the allocation of the value. So this is actually stored in the heap memory. So here the value 20 will be stored and the age will be referenced to the value 20 in the heap memory, and whenever you are trying to access it, will be getting access from the heap memory. Okay, so if you people have any questions regarding the concepts which we have seen until now, you can let me know in the chat. But I don't know why nobody is available over here today. So guys, if you are having any doubts, you can post the questions in the chat. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry. So, okay. So, ma'am, class variable is okay. Okay. Now, is it audible, Sumit? Is it audible now? Sorry, I was explaining you the things, but I thought I'm on unmute, but I'm on mute. Now, is it audible, Sumit? Sumit, like you can respond me in the chat so that I'll explain you. Okay. Okay. So we cannot call a class variable as a global variable because we can just tell that, like this static variables are directly, it is, like related with the class. So for example, yesterday itself we have seen, right? So whenever we are whenever we are declaring a class as a static, then normally to access the methods that is present inside a class, we used to create objects, right? Hmm? We used to create objects and then we'd be able to access it. But whenever we are giving a class, whenever we are giving yes, a class as a static, then instead of creating an object directly, we'll be able to access the methods that is present over there. Why? Because whenever we are using the static keyword, it is not referencing to any instance. Like if you're going to create a method, an instance will be created for that method, right? So it will never be bounded to any instances, so it will be directly linked to the class itself. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is if you're giving static int a is 5, static int a is 5, then this a is not a local variable. Even you can use in very static variables inside a method as well, but it is not actually, like pointing out to the instance of that method. For example, if you're writing the statement inside a method, let's take inside a method a, you are writing the static variable, okay? But this a is never called as a local variable of this method a. Why? Because if you're using static, then automatically it is reference to the class. Class automatically, whatever you're giving here. If you're giving class name as something like sample, because if you're using a static variable, it is directly pointing out to the class. This a is stored under this class sample. It is somewhere referenced with the class sample. Okay, it is not referenced with the method which is present over here. So that's why we are calling it as a non-localized, like it can never be a local variable because it will not point to any instance. If it's an instance of a method or any instances, it will not be getting pointed. It will be directly pointed to the classes. So that's why it is known as class level variables. So now is that fine, Sumit? Global variable is also only used in class. Global variable, see if you are, for example, global variable, I'll be giving you two examples, okay? Yes, so for example, let's take here inside main, okay? Obviously, if I'm going to give int a is equal to 5, okay, and I'm having many methods that is present, like over here, public void a, okay, something like public void b, public void c, okay. So here if I'm giving something means this a, it is called as a instance variable. Okay, instance variable. Why? Because it is, present inside a class, but it is present outside the methods which is present over here. Okay, so if in this case I'll be, able to make use of my a variable anywhere. If I'm giving system dot out dot println a, it works here. It also works here. It also works here. Okay, in main method also I'll be able to use it. So here, an instance variable itself, it acts as a global variable. Are you getting my point? Here it's not a static variable, okay, but it's a instance variable which acts as a global variable. Okay, here global variable is nothing but see, global variables are not only, the values which is not going to be changed. So if for a global variable, if the value is going to be changed, it is called as global variable only. Okay, if this, we can change the value of a anywhere. We can give it a is equal to 7, and automatically the change is reflected over here. Okay, so this is a global variable but not a constant variable, because it is not guaranteed that this value of a will be the same throughout each and every method. It is declared globally, right? It is declared globally, means it is not having any scope inside any method. So it is declared globally, we'll be able to make use of the variable a in any methods. Okay, but we can modify the value as well in any methods, because this is not a static variable. If you are giving static int a is equal to 5, then its value is fixed. Okay, so here in this case we can call a as a global variable, because the variable a can be accessed anywhere inside the class. It can be accessed under any method. And also we can call this a as a constant variable, because the value of a cannot be changed in any method. Okay, okay. Global variable means it is not like the value will be constant. No, global variable means it will not be carrying any local scopes and all. The scope is global, which means you'll be able to access the variable, or you'll be able to make use of the variable anywhere inside your method, because it is declared outside the method, right? Here only it is declared, right? So you'll be able to make use of the variable everywhere inside your method. So it is called as a global variable, but it's not constant. If you're giving instance variable, it's not constant because the values can be modified. But if you want to, have a global variable and also a constant one, you can go with static. And static, if you're giving static, I said a statement. If you're giving static, the variable is not reference to any methods over here. Okay, so if I'm giving static a, okay, and if I'm using a here as well, it is not reference to the method a, or it is not reference to method b, or it is not in the reference of c. It is directly, reference with the class main. And that's the reason why the values cannot be changed. You can raise a question. You're telling values cannot be changed, how is it possible? Because we have seen in JVM, right? The allocation initialization steps will be carried out. Only one time the I mean, like if you're writing 1,000 lines of code, also, if you're writing this program, and one after running this particular code, only for the very first time the allocation of variable a will be done, because it's a static variable, right? So only one time only this allocation will be done. So here in the heap memory, the a will be referenced to the value 5 only for the very first time when you are running the, when the execution of the program is done. After that, if it's a static variable, it will never be, it can be used, but it can never be modified. You cannot go and make the pointer to rechange the value or modify the value. Okay, so I hope, Sumit, now is it clear, right? And Sumit, can you let me know how many people are watching the live session? Sumit, can you let me know number of students watching the sessions right now? Okay. So, I mean, I don't know how many people are present over here. If anyone is present, I just want, like you people to write the answer for this in the chat. What is the size of int data type in bytes? What is the size of int data type in bytes? Let me give a couple of minutes for you guys to answer, but I don't know how many people are present. Good, good, Sumit. You're answering this, but you're not answering how many people are watching. Okay, cool. Is anyone watching other than you so that I can wait or else I'll proceed further? No issues. If anyone is in, if anyone is watching the live right now, then I can wait for the responses. Or if I'm going to ask any question, means I can wait for them. Otherwise, I can proceed further. For that only, I'm asking. Okay, yeah, the correct answer is 4 bytes. Okay. So next thing here it is the operators. Okay. Whenever you're dealing with operators, you want to know two words like operators and operands. Okay. So the very basic thing why we are going for programming is we are going to solve some computations. We are going to solve some problems for which we are going with programming, right? So we are going to do some computational task by using some algorithm or some scripts, okay, by using the machines, and then only we'll be able to get the correct accurate result. So whenever like we are going for programming or whenever we are going with coding, the ultimate aim is to solve a particular problem, do some computations and getting a result, right? So that is the main aim of programming. So we want to operate on the data or we want to operate on something to get the correct result. So computations must be carried out, computations are carried out. So operators are nothing but the symbols which helps in doing some computations. Okay, for example, if I'm going to add two numbers, I can do it by using a script or a program. Okay, so the symbols that are used for doing some computations are actually called as operators. The data on which the operations are being performed is known as operands. Okay, for example, if I'm going to write a statement, okay, my statement is a plus b is equal to 5. Okay, so here this is called as a statement, first of all. Okay, these are operators. Plus and equal to are called as operators because they help in doing the computations. Okay, operands are the data on which the operations is going to happen. A and B, here it is called as operand. Okay, so this is the first thing which you want to know, and there are 8 different kinds of operators which is available in Java. Okay, yes. So we have arithmetic operator, unary operator, assignment operator, relation operator, logical operator, ternary operator, and bitwise operator, shift operators. Okay. So first of all, let me tell you about these eight operators, and then like we'll be moving on with coding steps for the eight operators. Okay. Arithmetic operator means, as the name suggests, we are going to do some arithmetic calculations. So the basic arithmetic calculations which is available in maths, you all know, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication. For multiplication, here we will be using the symbol asterisk, division. Okay. And we are also having one more thing, modulus operator, which has the symbol of percentage, which is actually used to calculate the remainder. For example, if you're having 5, if you're telling 5 mod 4, the remainder will be the output. 5 mod 4, 1 is the remainder, right? When you're dividing 5 by 4. So if you're giving 2 mod 4, if your first element is lesser than the second element, so here 2 is less than the second element, right? So obviously the output will be the first element. Here 2 is the output. Okay. Arithmetic operators are nothing but it deals with the arithmetic operations like multiplication, subtraction, division, finding the remainder, and addition. Okay. Next is the unary operators. First of all, like there are, like a unary means, the normal meaning, right? Unary means one or a single. Binary means it's two, and the binary representation means it comprises of two digits. One is zero, and another one is one. Here, unary operators, as the name suggests, unary means one, so it tells us, right. We are going to deal with single operand, means the variables on which you are going to do some specific operation. It will be only a single variable. Okay, so we are in unary operator, we are having like many different things, like we have a pre-increment, post-increment, pre-decrement, and post-decrement. We'll discuss on that. And unary operator, unary means single. So we are going to work with single data, or we are going to work with single variable or single operand. Okay, only one variable is involved in the unary operators. Next thing is assignment. As the name says, we are going to assign, like make use of these variables to assign some values to the variables. I'm fine, Naitik. Can you please tell me assignment or anything else? I mean, I'm unsure of the assignments which they are giving to you. Okay. Assignment operator means either you can directly store the values after computation, or you can perform arithmetic operations and then assign. For example, you can either give a is equal to 5. If you're giving something like this, the value of 5 will be allocated to a. Okay. If you're giving something, so first statement, if you are giving a is equal to 5, and in next statement, if you are giving a plus is equal to 3, this is same as a is equal to a plus 3. Okay, so either a direct assignment can be done, either you can assign it directly, or you can do an arithmetic operation and then you can assign. Okay, so when you're giving a plus is equal to 3, it is similar to a is equal to a plus 3. So you will be incrementing a by 3 and then you will be assigning it to the variable. So now the value of a will be 8. Okay, another thing is relational. Okay, so relational means it is nothing but it is going to find out the like the relations between two operands. For example, it is going to find whether a is greater than sorry, lesser than b, or if it's greater than b, or if it's not equal to, either a and b values are not same, or it is double equal to, means if they are same, and if it is greater than or equal to, and if it's less than or equal to. Okay, always the output of the relational operator will be a boolean value. Okay, obviously it must be a boolean value, otherwise it doesn't make sense. So if I'm giving a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 3, and I want to find the relationship, I want to check out the relationship between these two variables, right? So if I'm giving a is, we'll be normally doing it in math, right? So if I'm asking a is greater than sorry, less than b, it's false, right? So this will be my output, false, because 5 is not less than 3. If I'm asking a is greater than b, yep, that's true. So I hope it makes sense. So every time the output of my relation operator will be a boolean value, either false or true, okay, according to the conditions. And another one is the logical operator, okay. For the logical operators we have or and not. Don't worry. Like guys, I just want to know, do you people know the truth table for symbol of unary? Unary operators, it deals with single operand, okay. So if like if it's a pre-increment, you'll be giving a, plus plus a pre-increment, okay, it will be like this. Post increment means a will be dealing with it, don't worry. A plus plus. Pre-increment means before assigning the value you're incrementing and then only you're assigning, okay. Post increment means after you are like officially both this like means the same only, okay. So this is equal to a is equal to a plus 1, and this is also equal to a is equal to a plus 1 only, okay. But the thing over here is whenever you're going with the println statements, that time alone the values will be getting changed, you will be able to see the difference, we'll be seeing it, okay. So this is unary operators. So minus minus a plus plus, a minus minus. So you are going to apply some operation on a single operand. That is why it is called as unary operators, okay. Okay, and logical operators, Sumit, do you know the logic gates? Do you guys know the truth table for and, or, and not? Truth table. Truth tables, do you know for and or not condition? Okay, so if you know the truth table, like we know, right? So and or not, it are it is three different conditions, okay, which actually finds the logical relationship between two operands, okay. So here also the output will be a boolean value only. Boolean value is the output. Next thing is ternary operator. uh like the ternary operator is a very beautiful operator. So if you're going with any, if you're going with any competitive programming things and all, usage of ternary operator, it helps you a lot. It helps you to reduce the number of lines, okay. So the ternary operator is also known as conditional operator, okay. So it works on some condition. For example, if a condition is true, then a certain set of statement will be getting executed. If a condition is false, then another set of statement will be getting executed. So ternary operator is nothing but it is also known as conditional operator. So if you guys have knowledge of any other programming languages, We used to have conditional statements. if and if and else, right? We used to have the conditional statement if and else, right? So if this is true, then this statement will be getting executed, or else this statement. Only for the statements, the conditions where and all we can use if else block, we can easily, do this with the help of ternary operators. Don't worry, okay. We'll be discussing everything. So instead of using this, three lines, I can directly tell it in a single line, which actually reduces the number of lines for my code. Okay, and ternary operator is actually used whenever you're dealing with competitive programming. Next thing is the bitwise operator and the shift operators. Okay, and I asked you people to go through the binary representation of digits, right? Why? Because whenever we are dealing with the bitwise and the shift operators, they both deal with bitwise level of the numbers. For example, here we are going with a logical operator and all. If you are going with bitwise or bitwise not or bitwise and bitwise XOR, then the AND operation is actually performed for the bits of that particular value. Okay, for example, if I'm using double pipe symbol means it is logical or if I'm using single straight line means it is bitwise or. So if I'm giving 5 or 7, wait. If I'm giving something like, not this, yes, if I'm giving something like 5 greater than 7 or 7 less than 2, for this particular condition the OR operation is performed and my value will be the output will be either true or false. It deals with the numbers itself. But if I'm giving something like 5 bitwise or 7, then it is dealing with the bit representation of the numbers. So 5 is converted to its bit, its binary representation. 7 is converted to its binary representation, and then the logical or is being not logical or, yeah, it is similar to logical or, but the or operation is performed, and then we'll be getting a number as an answer. We'll discuss it, don't worry, okay? So shift operators also, if you're going to shift the bits left side or right side, you'll be able to do it with the help of the shift operators, okay? So the bitwise and the shift operators, it deals with the bit level representation of numbers, and that's why I asked you to people to go through the bit representation. Ternary operator is very complicated to use. No, it is quite simple. Don't worry, we'll discuss it. Okay. So Sumit, can you kindly let me know of how many people are watching the live right now? It actually helps me because if if only you are watching, then if you know some concepts, I can uh, you know like uh, I can give a shorter information since short explanation on those concepts, and then I can proceed further on the concepts which you don't know, because we don't want to waste our time, right? Only you are here. Great. This is what I was expecting. So, do you have the idea of arithmetic operations? So I'll give you a simple example, and do you know how to get input from the user? getting user input using scanner class. Do you know, Sumit? You know that. Okay. Great. Okay, arithmetic operators, you know, right? So if you're giving int a is equal to 4 and int b is equal to 6, and if sorry, public static void main string arguments. So if I'm giving something like int a is equal to 4, int b is equal to 6, and if I'm trying to print a mod b, so here my a value is less than b value, so 4 will be my answer. 4 is my answer, okay? So modulus operator only explain me bitwise and shift and ternary. So you know unary operator. Do you know unary operator, Sumit? Okay, great, cool. Okay, I'll go with it. Ternary. Ternary, yes. This is my ternary operator, okay? After seeing the ternary operator, let's take a short break and then we'll proceed with the bitwise operator, okay? Yes, so ternary. I said whatever statements you are going to or whatever operations you are going to do with if else block, you will be able to transform the same with the help of ternary operators. And I also said you that the ternary operator it actually helps to reduce the code, right? So it works in this way. For example, by giving a specified condition, okay, if this condition is true, then this first expression will be working, otherwise the second expression will be working. So here we will be using two symbols, which is question mark and another one is colon, okay? So depending on this condition only the execution of the expression is going to happen, so that's why we are calling it as a conditional operator or a ternary operator, okay? So I'll be giving a simple example for this, okay? So my use case is I want to find find the largest of two numbers. Okay. Usually what we'll do, say if I'm giving something like int a is equal to 10 and b is equal to 5, I want to find the largest among these two numbers. We'll be giving if a is greater than b, then system.out.print a is greater, okay? Or what we'll be doing, if or else block will be giving us b is greater, right? So we can do it simply with the help of ternary operator, okay? So here I will be assigning int result, sorry, string result, okay? First condition must be specified, right? The condition if is a is greater than b. If this is true, okay, then I want to assign a is greater to my result variable. Otherwise, I want to assign b is greater. So what happens over here? Here this condition is checked. So here in this case, my a is greater than b, 10 is greater than 5. So this string value a is greater than is being assigned to result variable. Okay. If this condition is false, then b is greater will be assigned. So if I'm trying to print out the result, it is a is greater. Okay. So next thing, I'll be changing A to 1 and B to 5. Now it will be checking whether my A is greater than B. No, it is false. So what happens? After colon whatever thing you have written, it will be assigned to my result variable. So when I try to retrieve the result variable, B is greater will be printed because the B is greater will be stored out there. Okay. One more thing. Instead of, I mean, like ternary operator even works with the println statement. So instead of assigning it to a result variable and then instead of printing the result, I can I can directly, print like this. Let me check it out. Yes. If multiple if else is there, we cannot. If multiple if else in the sense, are you asking about uh, if then else if then this like this? Are you asking, or is it something like if else then if else? Or are you asking something like if inside this if else block you can have and else block? I'll be telling you. I'll be giving you the numbers 1, 2, and 3. Can you tell me what example you're asking? What is your question? So either if it's something like if else, or if else, or if inside if we'll be having if else block. You can give me the numbers. Sumit, you can let me know the number. Okay. So even we can go, even we can use the operators, even you can use the ternary operator in print and statement as well. And when while explaining, I clearly said you that only for a single if else later only will be able to convert it into ternary operator. Single if else block. If you're having multiple conditions like if else, it cannot be if else. One if else can never be done with the help of ternary operator. Okay, we cannot have multiple expression, but if we want something like multiple, this we can proceed. Okay, but of course it will be like you are supposed to write a complex ternary expression only, because if you want to go with for a single statement, you cannot write like this. So if I want to calculate whether a is greater than b, that's fine. What I'll be doing, I'll be writing like this itself. Okay, if I want to calculate like this, a is greater than b greater than C, I'll be able to calculate like this. What I'll be doing is, for A is greater than B, I'll be writing a ternary expression, and I'll be getting the result over there. And then I'll also be computing. Outside I'll be writing another expression to compute whether it is whether to compute with C to find which is greater. Okay, so okay, I'll be able to do like this, but I will not be able to do the if else and all. Okay, for a what I'm trying to say is, for a single condition, if you want to check whether if or else, you cannot do like that, but you can do like that. For a single condition, you can give a ternary expression. Okay, and you can check whether if else block, you can check over there, and outside this you can have a check on it. So for this and this, the checks can be done. And if it's a complex thing, then outside you can give another ternary operator to have a check on this and this. Okay, so only between two and only between two conditions it will be able to check. So either condition one or condition two. But if you are going with if else, here three conditions are there. What you can do, okay, three conditions cannot be do. If it's a nested condition, also you'll be able to do with the help of ternary operator. Is it fine, Sumat? Like for finding the greatest of three numbers, okay, you can go with like this, right? You can go with if else block, right? This as a whole in a single ternary operation we cannot do. We can split the operation, so we'll be computing the two things. We'll be storing the result, and with the result variable we'll be writing another ternary expression, and then we'll be able to do it. Are you getting my point? Sumit, is that clear? Are you getting my point? In a single ternary operation, we cannot perform if else, if else, or multiple if else and all. But if you want to find, for example, the greatest of three numbers, you can apply ternary operator on two numbers. Okay, first you can first apply ternary operation on two numbers, retrieve the output, and with the output and the third number, you can again perform a ternary operation, and then you can do okay. So for example, I'll be finding the largest of three numbers. If it's a else block, I mean if else block means you'll be giving if else, right? Int a is equal to 1, b is equal to 2, and c is equal to 3. Okay, first let me write uh, int result, I mean in int first greater is equal to uh, first greater. No, let me put, I want to assign the value, but I want to retrieve the character, right? Wait. If a is greater than b, oh, 1 second, let me check it out. First greater, a is greater than b. Okay, I want to assign some value. 1 second, let me check it out. Because here I want to, I mean if I'm assigning the string also, it will not be done. If I'm assigning variable, I mean like variable means I want to retrieve the value, right? 1 second. Okay, so let me give something like this. Okay, I'll retrieve the result. Okay, so it's so if I'm going to check whether my a is greater than b, if a is greater than b, um, then I want to check a is greater than b. I want to check whether my a is, I mean, okay, so if a is greater than b, I want to check whether c is greater than a, right? So let me give a is greater than c. Okay, colon a colon c. So if my a is greater than b is true, then I want to check my a with c. Otherwise, I'll be checking my b with c. B is greater than c, b c. I hope it works. So first I'll be giving a condition over here. I'll be checking whether my a is greater than b. If my a is greater, then this will be getting executed. I want I want to check whether a is greater than c or okay. If it's not, then b will be greater. Then I want to go with this condition. Once I'll try it out. Result. Yes. So I'm getting it correctly. So finding a largest of three numbers, it can be done with the help of this ternary example. Okay, you got it right. Because initially why I was thinking is, if my output is to do something like this, if my output is to print something like whether my A is greater or whether my B is greater, I will not be able to do like this. So are you getting my point? So here what we are doing with the help of ternary operator, we are able to get the largest of three number value. But if I want to get the variable name, I won't be able to do it. Okay. So what I thought was, initially can we assign the output to a string and then can we manipulate it, or we can do like this only. So if my question is to just retrieve the value which is largest, then I can go with using ternary operator. Okay, or else if my question is to output like this, we'll be able to do it with the help of if else. I think that is easier than this. Okay, so Sumit, is it fine? Sumit, if you're telling you're clear with this example, then we can have a 5 minute break and then we can again continue the session. So next I'll be one. Okay. So next we'll be dealing with the bitwise operator and the shift operators. Is it fine? Or do you have any doubts? You can respond. Okay. So let's have a 5 minute break at 7:25. We'll continue. We'll resume the session. Okay. And next we'll deal with bitwise and the shift operators. And I'll also be giving you some resources for DSA. Okay. 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 Ternary operator is necessary only to store in variable for output. Um, is it not? It is not like for storing only the. I mean, I'm not even telling ternary operators is necessary. I'm just telling you you're also having an alternative for the if else block. So if you're writing if else block means it consumes some 3 to 4 lines of code, right? Or if you're using if you're I mean for finding the largest of three numbers itself, if you're just going to retrieve the largest of three number, if you're going to just retrieve the number also, you will be giving some 6 lines of code, right? If else. So I'm telling you, it's an alternative for if else block. Okay, it is not something like for if else you have to use only ternary operator. It's not something like that. It's an alternative. You can either go with this or go with that as well, because both works in a similar way. That actually helps you to reduce the line of code. But there are some cases where even the ternary operator is very complex. So in that cases, you can better go with the conditional statements because it will be easy for you guys, right? So when and all it's necessary, you can go with that. Okay, it is not a mandatory one. Is it fine, Sumit? Four members are also added. Okay, I don't know why you people were. I mean, the remaining four members apart from Sumit. I don't know why you people were late to the class, but until now we have discussed about the various operators in Java, and now I'm going to deal with the bitwise operators. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Once again. Now again, no one is there. Okay, that's fine, Sumit. No issues. Okay. So, Sumit, do you know the binary representation of numbers, right? So directly can jump into just the mechanism of how the bitwise operators work, right? Quest time. It's conditional operator. Okay. Mm. Okay. So I'll use the space. We already have this. Okay, I'll use the space. Okay. So bitwise operator means, for example, we'll see about um, bitwise or. So bitwise OR means the symbol is a single line symbol. Bitwise and means in logical and all we'll be using two ampersands, right? But here it's a single ampersand. And XOR, exclusive or, it's like a exclusive or, it will be having this symbol. Okay. Shift operators, we have shift right, shift left. Okay. If it's left, then the arrow, I mean the triangle must be pointing out to left side. If it's right, then it must point out to the right side. Okay. And yes, I'll work on with for all this, I'll work on with a single input. So let's say my A will be 5 and my B is 7. Okay. So if I want to compute bitwise or for 5 and 7 means, we know, the 8421 rule, right? So according to the 8421 rule, how 5 is represented: 0, 1, 0, 1, right? And 7 is represented as 0, 1, 1, 1. I mean, it's a 4-bit representation. If you want to write in 5-bit, 8-bit representation means 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, right? Or if it's 8-bit means 0, 7 will be represented as 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, triple 1, right? So if I want to perform bitwise OR operation, what I'll be doing is, like, for our easier computation, think as, see, either it's and or not. Okay, logically only we are going to work on this as well. Okay, so we know the logical and truth table, right? Only when both the conditions are true, that time only we will be yielding result true. Either if one of the condition is false, and means and, right? So the output will be false, right? So think the bit 0 as false. So the bit 0, it represents false, and the bit 1, the value 1, it represents true. Okay. So apply, sorry, it's or, right? Sorry, it's or. So for or, what is the condition? If either of the operand is true, then the output is true. Okay, so I said you right, 1 represents true and 0 represents false. So true or true, it's true. False or true, it is true. True or true, it is true. False or false, it is false. So everything here is false, right? Because neither the operand is 1. So this is the computation which we received after applying the bitwise OR. Now we have to convert it into corresponding decimal. If we convert, what happens? According to 8421 rule, the value is 7, right? So 7 is going to be my answer. Let me show you the example. Bitwise OR. Okay, int a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 7. So if I am printing system dot println a, a bitwise or b, instead of storing in a variable, I'm just printing as such, because I hope can understand that. Okay, 7 is my answer output. Okay, so this is bitwise or. Do you understand, Sumat? So if it's bitwise and, this is for bitwise or, if it's bitwise and, okay, if it's bitwise and, what happens? And means we know only if both the uh, operands are false, then only the output will be false. Otherwise, sorry, for and you know, right? Only if your A and B both are true, then only your output will be true. Okay, either if one of the operand it corresponds to false, then your output is false only, right? So here, true and true, it is true. False and true, it is false. True and true, it is true. False and false, it is false. False and false, false, everything is false. So when you correspond this binary to its decimal representation, it is 101, it is nothing but 5. So 5 will be my output. So when I'm trying to put bitwise and, means, that's why I said the bitwise operators and the shift operators, it work in bit level. Okay, it works in bit level, but the same logical and logical or consequently will be applying for the bits of that particular numbers. Bitwise and okay. So when you try to perform bitwise and, the output is 5. Okay, so here also we have received 5 only. So next thing, XOR. I hope you know the truth table for XOR, right? For XOR, the truth table will be one second. Okay. So next thing is bitwise XOR. How bitwise XOR work is, if your operands, if you're having A and B, you're having A and B, if both the operands are not like having the same boolean value. For example, if it's true and true, then your output will be zero. I mean false. If it is true and false, then your output will be true, because there must be, A and B must not be same. If A and B is same, then your output is false. If it's different, it can be a combination of true and false, or false and true, anything it can be. If it's false and false, output is false. If it's false and true, output is true. So if both the operands are different, then it yields true. If both the operands are same, then it yields false. So one and one it's same, so zero. Okay. Then what we have, 0 and 1 both are different, right? So 1 will be, I mean, 2 will be my output. Then everything is same, 1 and 1 is same, so 0. 0 and 0 is same, so 0. 0 and 0 is same, so 0, 0, 0, 0. So the corresponding decimal value for this is nothing but, it is 2, right? Because in the 8421 rule we are having 1, the bit is set only in the second position, so 2. So if I want to, if I'm giving X or A X or B, then a output is 2. Yes, 2 is going to be my output. Okay, so I hope these are the bitwise operator and it is clear to you. Okay, so next is the shift operators. Shift operator is quite very simple. Okay, okay, so next thing is shift operators, and here we have shift left and shift right. Okay, so if this is the case, it is shift right, which means you are going to shift the bits of your number towards its right. For example, if you are giving 5, right shift 2 means it means that you're going to shift the shift the bits of 5 towards right, towards right, for how many times? For 2 times, because you have specified 2 over here, right? So for 2 times. Okay, so for example, if you're giving something like 5 great 5 not great 5 right shift 3 means you're going to shift the bits of 5 towards its right 3 times. Okay, so like let's once again. Yes, so let us represent it in 8-bit representation. So it's 128, 5, right? So 0. Okay, everywhere again 0. So let's do 5 right shift 2. 2 times I want to, 2 shifts I want to do towards right. Okay, so let me shift. So this one goes outside the frame. Outside means it will be going. That's it. So it is not considered further. So 0 comes over here, 0. Then 1 comes over here, 1. 0 comes towards this position, so 0. Then this 0 comes over here, 0. And this 0 comes over here, 0. And this 0 comes over here, it's 0. And this 0 comes over here, 0. And here the space will be empty, right? You have to fill it up with the 0. So this is going to be my first shift. Okay, now my second shift will be, again this is, again you have to shift this bits towards its right. So this is gone outside of the frame. So this one comes over here, this 0 comes over here, this 0 over here, this 0 over here, this 0 over here, this 0 over here, and this 0 over here. And here you'll be having an empty space where you'll be filling it up with 0. So this is my second shift. So you said to shift only twice, right? So 2 shifts have been carried out. So this is going to be my final output. Okay, so when I convert it into decimal format, corresponding decimal format, it's 1, right? So 1 is going to be my output. Okay, so so it is shift operator. So let me give int a is equal to 5 and b is equal to 2, because you want to shift wise, right? So bitwise and my it is shift right. If I'm giving a, shift right b, shift right 1 is my output. Okay, 1 is my output. So here also we have 1. Okay, so next example is, let me show you 5 left shift 2. Okay, so when we are writing like 5 in terms of its 5 in times of 8 bits, 1 2 4 8 16 32 64 128. Okay, yes, so 10 one second. Okay, so meaning all places it's 0. So if you want to do a right shift, then this one comes here towards right, you want to shift right 1, this 0 comes here 0, this one comes here 1, this 0 comes here 0, this 0 comes over here it's 0, this 0 comes over here it's 0, and this 0 comes over here it's 0, and this 0 it goes out of the frame, okay, which is not included, and here you are having an empty space that is filled up with 0. Okay, so next thing, yes, so next, this is my first shift, right? So for my second shift, this 0 comes here, and this one comes here, this one comes here, 0 comes here, 1 comes here, again 0 comes here, again it's 0, again 0. Oh, it's again. Yeah, this 0 comes here, right? And this 0 comes here, and this 0 goes out of the frame, and here this 0 comes here, this one comes here. One second, wait. Okay, I have added one more 0, I guess. Okay, here I have added one more 0. So this one comes here, 0 comes here, 1 comes here, 0, 0, 0. This 0 goes out of the frame, and here you'll be having an empty space which is filled up with 0. So when you try to, convert this into its corresponding binary, the bit is set. The bit is 1 at 16 and 4, right? So 16 plus 4, it is 20. So 20 should be my output. Can I get the PDF? Yes, sure. Today I'll send the PDF, okay? Because we have seen the entire thing of this PDF, right? I'll be sending you, okay? Okay. So when, oh, it's shift left. Wait, I haven't changed this over here. So when it's shift left, it is 20. The output is 20. Okay. So here also you have received 20 only, right? So this is the shift operators which is present. Shift operator is nothing but you are going to shift the bits of your data according to the condition. Okay. So yes, we have completed the operators concept and we are end of the slide. So I'll share you the slide today. Okay, so Sumit, first of all, is it fine? You said you need clarity on ternary and the bitwise and the shift operators. So is it clear to you? Sumit, is it clear to you? The bitwise and the shift and the ternary operators. If not, let's one time I'll clear you the concepts on where you are not clear, but not perfectly. What happened? In you tell me in which area you are having some shift operator. Okay, shift operator is very simple. Okay, I'll again. Can I again explain you? Can I explain you again? I'll explain you with shift, right? See, it's very simple. For example, let me take 10 left shift 2. Okay, this arrow is pointing towards left in accordance to me, right? So it is left shift. Okay, so which means this actually clearly specifies you that you're going to shift the bits of 10. Okay, so 10 you have to write the bitwise representation of 10 and you're going to shift the bits alone towards left twice. Okay, so first, write 10 in 8 bits representation. Why I'm giving it an 8 bits representation means that time only you'll be very clear and the shift is generally carried out like this. Okay, because our range is small, right? So you can also see, for example, here the last bit in 5 is 8, right? So if I'm going to shift twice means, sorry, here it is. So if I'm going to shift twice means until 16 I want to have. So okay, don't worry if you're not getting this. Okay, see, 10 10 I'm representing it in 8 bits representation. Okay, so it is 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, 2 power 3, 16, 32, 64, 128. Even you can go further also. Okay, if you are giving something like 64, 64 right shift 2 means here, right, your 1 will be here. So if you're going to shift 2 times means here 1 comes for the first shift and again here 1 comes for the next shift, right? So you have to have more number of bits. So here now as my input value is small, okay, don't worry. Okay, so now if you want to, yes, represent 10, it's 8 plus 2, and in all other places let me substitute it with 0. So whenever you are shifting the bits towards left, what happens is if the bit is 0 uh, in this position, in 1 means it is shifted towards left. So this 0 comes here. Okay, and again next shift, if you are going to shift the bit over here towards left, this 1 comes here. Okay, and if you're going to shift this 0 to the left means this 0 comes over here. Okay, if you're going to shift this bit which is present in this 8th position, okay, I mean in the 4th position, if you're going to shift, it comes over here, it comes to the 5th position. Okay, because left side you're going to shift, right? Left side you're going to shift. Next, mm, this 0 is going to be shifted towards his right. Then which color? This 0, it's going to be shifted towards its, sorry, left. And next, which color? Okay. This 0 will be shifted towards its left. And this 0 is shifted towards its left. Okay. I told, right, it's not in the frame, which means that after 128 also I have another this thing, right? 256 I have here. Okay. So this bit, it goes to that. Here also I'll be having 0, right? Means here, in terms of 2 powers, I can write up to 2 power n, right? So I'm telling, when you're shifting this bit, it's not in the scene, it's not in the frame, but internally it will be shifted to 256, the value 256. Okay, it is ninth bit. Okay, but we are not considering it right now because we are only focusing on 8 bits. Okay, so that's it. So here I'll be having empty value now, because this 0 I have shifted here, but this thing I want to take care of, right? So what is filled here? So for empty spaces, we'll fill it up with 0. So 0 is here. Okay, again, this is, so I have shifted all my 8 bits, I have shifted everything, right? So this is my first shift. So in the question, what I have specified, I want to shift the bits of 10 twice towards its left. One time it's over. So for the second time, I want to shift again. So now again, if you shift, what happens? This zero, which we have filled in empty space, this 0 comes here. Okay, next, this this 0 comes here. This 1 comes here. This 0 comes here. It is shifted, I mean, it is incremented. You can I mean, I hope you understand. This 1 is shifted towards its left here. Then this 0 comes here. Then this 0 also comes here. And this 0 goes to the ninth bit, which we are not considering right now because it's not in the frame. Okay, so this is my second shift. I have done the second shift also. Okay, only I asked the machine, I mean the computer, to shift 2 times. So in 8 bits representation, this is going to be my final output, right? Because after shifting, this is going to be my final output. Okay, so I want to convert it into in terms of decimal. So let me check where and all I have 1. I have 1 here and I have 1 here, right? So where and all I have 1, we have to add, right? So 32 plus 8, it is 40, right? 10, 2. Okay, A left shift, B 10 left shift 2. Okay, so I want to get the value 40. So 40 is my output. Okay, so 40 I'm getting. Now is it clear, Sumit? Now is it clear for you? The shift. Nothing, it's quite, like it's simple. You're going to just shift the bits to the next position. That's it. Now, is it perfectly understood? Do you understand perfectly? Sumit, did you understand now, or do you have doubts anywhere? If you're having doubts again, also no issues. You can let me know. Okay. So, yes. So, this is all about today. So, we'll wind up the session here. And I just thought of giving you the DSA resources as well. Tomorrow, now I'm having another meeting. So, tomorrow, uh, at the start of the class itself, I'll be giving you the resources. Okay. Yes. So thank you so much, Sumit, because you was today you was the only student for whom I have took the class, and thank you for joining me. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow also you join me. I mean, I just want to know whether the concepts are clear to you, Sumit, because is my pace okay? I just need you to give some feedback so that I can help you well in understanding the concepts. So, so is everything okay from my side, or do you need some enhancements? You just give me the feedback, and then we'll close the session with the feedback alone. Okay, clear all concepts. Yes. So like parallelly, you work. I mean, you start solving questions on lead code platforms as well. And if you have any doubts, tomorrow also you can ask. If you're having any doubts, then and there you ask. Okay. Okay. I'll wind up the session now. Thank you so much, Smith, for joining the session. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.